Afternoon. This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing, but it's a thing we want you tuned into every Saturday afternoon. This is a great Saturday. I'm Elsa McGee, your host, and I'm here with my sidekick and colleague on the Sons of Atlanta Vietnam War Memorial. And we're gonna talk about some of that today, Michael. Good to have you back, bro.
Man, great to be back.
But we got a special guest here with us today. We want to introduce this brother real quick because he has come on deck with some stuff, man, that was mind blowing. I mean, you know, his history and his accomplishments and his connections, you know, just kind of blew my mind away. So welcome, brother Tony. Thank you for taking a moment to come in. We got a great MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, Michael. I want you to look at that briefly because we finna let Tony introduce himself while you look at that, because I know you got a lot of background knowledge about our product and what we're doing. So, Brother Tony, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you all today?
We're blessed.
Awesome.
Could you introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about your product and services that you got, especially your background?
Awesome, will do. Well, first I want to thank you all for inviting me out here today. Once again, my name is Tony Rafus. I am the president and CEO of United Enterprises, which is a service-disabled veteran-owned small business that specializes in pharmaceuticals, supplies, and services. And one of the things that we do is we actually own pharmaceuticals and pharmacies across the country. We're in like 36, 37 states, and we're growing to 50 as rapidly as we can. One of the things that we wanted to do in speaking with Brother McGee and his team, we wanted to see if there's a fit where we can come in and assist with some of the things that we want to do inside of the veteran community, because in my mind, and hopefully I'm not overstepping my boundaries here, but in my mind, a lot of us veterans end up coming up short. So the way I've done it over the last 20 years is to not so much come up short because I wait for someone else to do for us. I usually just grab the bull by the horns and we take what we want. Mm-hmm. So hopefully, once again, that didn't come off too aggressive. But that's the only way we have seen to be able to make the wheel roll. So, and I want to bring my experience with that to my other fellow brothers and sisters out here in the veteran community. Now, my background, once again, I was in the U.S. Army, Persian Gulf. So I was a little bit behind President McGee, but still for the same reasons, I was out here fighting. What we did is I had some unfortunate injuries during the Persian Gulf War that led me to say, okay, I had to hang up my military service, but I continue to serve the best way that I can. And the only way that I know how to do it is to provide products and services to the people who serve like I did. After I left the military, I was wondering what I was going to do with my life, and one of the things that I was extremely good at was mathematics. So I went ahead and got an engineering degree to further my intellectual abilities and keep going forward. And I parlayed all of that stuff into what I'm doing here today, I will say 30 some odd years later.
Awesome.
Okay. Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about your product, Brother Tony? Would you do that for us, please? Because we talked about one of the most diagnosed conditions at the VA. I'm thinking it's in the top 10 is ED. Mm-hmm. So could you tell? Because I was taken away by the product being a service rep, a person that represent and help veterans get their benefits. I saw that as it was kind of mind blowing that we had one of our own in the business and in a predicament where we could actually get the doctors to write prescriptions and get your product.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we all know that ED, erectile dysfunction, is one of those conditions that typically affects folks between the ages of 40 up. When COVID came around over the last 2.5 years ago, we've seen those numbers drop. So now ED is affecting folks as young as in their 20s. And for us, our pharmacy we're kind of unique from the standpoint of we're not just retail, we also compound medication. So what we do is we make the medication, or we buy the medication from the manufacturers, and we can either take those where it's come in a pill form, or we can take those where it comes in a lozenge form, where you just put it in your mouth and it bypass your GI tract, and thereby still giving you the exact same results that we need for the reasons we need it. Let me just say it that way, right? So when I was speaking with you in regards to that, there's at any given point in time, there's not just vets, but men, period. There's over 50 million folks who suffer from this throughout the country. And the way I look at it is everyone needs help. It's no longer one of those things where we hide behind the covers. What we do is we speak with physicians. If you don't have one, then we will provide one. And what we'll do is treat our brothers for the conditions and take care of their needs in short order. And the beautiful thing about it is we discreetly ship all the products to your home. So it's not like everyone knows exactly what's coming in the boxes. So it's real discreet.
Well, that is amazing. Now, the last part I want to get you to talk about is that when we start talking, you actually looked at our organization, and specifically the Sons of Atlanta Vietnam Memorial Wall, and knew that we needed help funding this project. And you know what you would tell I followed a little bit about that. So I know Michael started smiling when we started saying funding for the memorial. So. Absolutely. So we have a motto around here, and it says, "Find a need and fill it." So when I was made aware, first of all, let me take a step back. Before I was made aware of the monument, I see my brothers and sisters walking around here daily, pushing carts, living under bridges. I do as much as I can with the resources that we have. So when I was made aware of the monument, and then I was made aware of the challenges of getting that monument put up, I said, well, wait a minute. Here's one of those needs that need to be filled, and it's really, really simple. From our perspective, we have a product that people not just want, but need, and some want it, but some need it, and there's a price attached to it. Well, all we do is extract a certain percentage of that money, and we immediately began to try and raise monies to not just build a monument here locally in Atlanta, but we can take care of our own within our own, if that makes any kind of sense. That's specifically what we talked about. And because you were sensitive to the issues, because you're a veteran, and you get the same feeling that we do when you see one of our brothers or sisters struggling in the community, either with homelessness or mental illnesses, the lack that sometimes comes when you're disabled. So we really appreciate that, brother. And thank you for taking time not only to be with us today, but to include us in your business in a way that's going to help us do what we do anyway for our sisters and brothers. So thank you.
Absolutely, I appreciate it.
All right, okay. All right, we getting back to the issues right here now, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, Michael is back here today, and you know we got this news after talking with Robert Fowler, who is the architect, and that is the presenter of the design to. He presented it to Piedmont Park Conservatory, and they bought it. You know, he presented it to the city of Atlanta,
Right.
and they bought it. And then, you know, they looked at us and they said, well, y'all, only thing y'all got to do left is get the National Park Service
Approval.
And Bob presented that here last, I think it was in March.
That's right.
Last March, and this past Monday, we got an approval from the National Park Service to build this memorial in Piedmont Park.
Long overdue.
So talk about it, Michael.
You know, I'll tell you what. It's been one roller coaster ride, but I know you wanted to go back a little bit and just talk about the whole inception. But you know, it came from your vision. And I was just in a position where I could actually bring people together to try to help bring that vision to reality. And one of the things we started off doing was soliciting some young people to come up with the conceptual design. And I solicited my daughter with me and one of her classmates who were both architecture students at Kennesaw. And his name is Assad DeBose. I don't want to underscore the importance and the involvement of these two young individuals who I think were just real visionaries in their own mind. So I worked with these two young people. We pulled together the entire initiative. We went through several draft copies, if I can remember correctly. But what we came up with was a very unique design, unlike anything that we've seen around the country at this point. But as we started to talk about the project and a couple of other things, we understood that the potential exists here, not just to tell a story about the veterans of that era, but everything that's going on around veterans in general from successive wars. And we also wanted to have the opportunity to put together something that will be memorialized digitally and with a couple of other components that we can go into communities and so on and so on. So it was just a series of events leading up to what we call the Brickathon. Now the Brickathon was our way of selling bricks that will be placed around the memorial, but doing so in such a way that we actually had community involvement, elected officials, and a number of different individuals coming to the forefront to talk about the project and help us really spread the word. So we had a list of distinguished individuals. We had a lot of people from within the chapter that really gave a lot of credibility to the initiative overall, and they really helped pull this thing together. But that conceptual design eventually got to Robert Fowler and Associates. They came up with all of the architectural drawings that we see on the Facebook page and on the website. And to just see this thing, go from, I have a young son. When he was a baby, he never crawled. He got up and he held on to the sofa and he would just run from one room to the next. That's how this project was. This thing grew feet and it just started running. So all that to say, we got to a level where we got the approvals from the Piedmont Park Conservancy. We had a lot of involvement with them. We had a lot of conversations with them, and we did. I believe Memorial Day, we actually had an event in Piedmont Park where the monument's going to be erected. And all these things just started coming together. And I think the only brick wall that we had, and it kind of was a shock to us, was waiting that approval from the Park Service. So once that, hit us, we were like, okay, we got to come up with some other means of funding this initiative. So, it all came together. We have a group of individuals who are dedicated. We don't give up, man. That's just the bottom line. It was when obstacles are placed in our way, we find a way to, get around them, and that's what happened. So it's just real awesome to be in this state, in this position that we're in right now. It's a very unique position. And again, this memorial serves to bring individuals together at a point in time in our country where we need true unity. I don't want elected officials talking about unity and not meaning it. We're talking about protecting the rights and the benefits and all of the things that the folks who this memorial will serve have fought for, which is our democracy. Okay, I can't put it any other way. You cannot send our people, out in harm's way, fighting for democracy and then try to tear it down. It just doesn't work that way. And I'm just a bit tired of some of these individuals talking out of two sides of their mouth. They're pro law enforcement, but you're going to corral a group of people to go and beat up law enforcement at our nation's capital. Anyway, don't let me get on that bandwagon. But
veterans talking to veterans, y'all.
But this is it's very meaningful to me. I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about all those who have served, those people who I've been around, including the members of this group, because they stand for something. And I believe firmly that here in the United States, that healing can actually start here in Atlanta at Piedmont Park. A, once we erect this memorial, and B, once we actually have the platform by which we can actually share what has transpired with the rest of the country and the rest of the world, for that matter. So that's where I'm at, and my heart is with each and every one of the people that have been a part of this project, and including my family members, because I recruit them too. So I just thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this. It's just been amazing.
Well, this is a community project.
It is.
This is a continuation of what Barack set into motion in 2012 when he
That's right.
signed his proclamation establishing the 50th year commemoration of the Vietnam War, where he openly acknowledged the way that my generation of combatants was mistreated. But now, what was overlooked in my generation of combatants, that we were the first generation that served in a fully integrated military. That might not appeal to a lot of people as something,
Right.
but it was something then, because in 1954, we had two militaries until President Truman issued an executive order. He couldn't get it through Congress. He issued an executive order to desegregate the U.S. military. Now, why would he do that? Well, he was the commander-in-chief. He saw that the military had been devastated during World War II, and Korea didn't help it any. So he had to rebuild the military, where a lot of people of the other hue who made up the major military was not all that excited about military service anymore. So he said, well, it's going to take something to rebuild this. They looked over there at the denied colored units the denied colored units. I want to say that again because, see, finally we're coming out with all these hero stories about different colored units that served in segregation. But I want them to look at the Vietnam era integrationists. We came in and we integrated the U.S. military. We adapted to whatever we had to adapt to, and it wasn't. We recognized that it wasn't just us integrating the U.S. military. It was all of us, every demographic, every race that was in existence during this time period. We young people, 18, 19 years old, came into a situation that they had never been in before. And the U.S. military is the most diverse, integrated, effective part of our society today. I don't care what nobody talk about. I just like saluting them young folks when I go in there, because when I was in, Colin Powell was a novelty. You saw a young black officer, you followed him around to make sure he wasn't going to disappear. like we got one sitting over there in the corner right now, Captain Tracy. You know, see, we got to remember what veterans have contributed.
That's right.
And this memorial is more than a monument in the park. See, we're going into the community centers after we get the memorial in the parks where they can come, you know, open air memorial now. This is something that you can visit 24/7. You just go through there if you want some quiet time with some patriots.
Yes.
You know, feel their spirits. Because these young men died believing in the pledge of allegiance to the flag.
That's right.
You know, they died believing in this democracy that we have. Now we done got infiltrators that's trying to take it away from us. So
That's right.
we, as in their name, in their spirit, not just these 240 from Fulton County, but the whole 58,000 from my generation that gave the ultimate sacrifice for this democracy. We're not going to walk away from it. These colors don't run. Intimidations don't work with us.
Right.
It only aggravates us. It makes us
right.
come up with ways to fight you that you ain't never seen before.
That's right.
That's what made the black unit so exceptional. You talk about the Tuskegee Airmen, them brothers put flying in the air. You know,
That's right.
They put flying in the air. They had some other units like the Muffin Marines, and you know they had some. Oh man, don't get me into the history of military service because I want to salute the Buffalo Soldiers.
Yes.
You know what we have to do is make military service a hometown thing, and that's what we're doing with the memorial here.
Yes.
We're making it hometown. We just took those 240 plus off the walls in D.C. and brought them home.
Yes.
In a way that we got to make their community. These are where they come from. You know, they got families still in these communities. They served to make sure that they had this democracy that we gonna sit by and let them take away from us. No, son, this is veterans talk. It ain't nothing but a thing, but it's a thing we gonna deal with every time we can. So what we're doing now is reaching out, and you can tell that it's a spirit. You know, I'm a preacher. I just got to go there for a minute because I studied the Bible and I believe in it. And Matthew's the 8th chapter, 5 through 13 verse. The Savior was talking to a centurion. A centurion, right? That's a soldier. He's a protector. And just to make the story short, he was talking about faith. And the kind of faith that is in the centurion, like none he has ever seen. And that's what I see in every veteran that I know. Even those that are up under the bridge, at one point in their lives, they were the most faithful of citizens in this country.
Yeah.
So we got to call upon us now. We don't care what demographic you're coming from, what race you represent, to come together to stand up for this democracy.
Right.
That we have seen our brothers die in every generation. You know, in every generation we have seen people from our communities, our sisters, our brothers, our fathers and uncles serve in this U.S. military and then come home and not understand that they were supposed to be bringing home some benefits.
That's right.
The benefits that they supposed to be bringing home would change the economic landscape of their community. That's what we do with Vietnam Veterans Over America. We make sure that veterans are getting their benefits, first of all. The benefits that they earn by their military service. And today, I'm just glad to talk about the PAC Act. I've been talking about the elements of a claim and all that stuff. But the Congress has just expanded a lot of benefits. They didn't go far enough.
Right.
So we got to talk to them about amending the PAC Act. You know, I mean, it's a good step in the right direction now. And I'm not condemning it, but I'm not standing up saying, oh, it's the all in all, because it excluded thousands of veterans.
That's right.
Right? How did it exclude? They didn't recognize the locations where they served as being exposure points.
Right.
You know, so we got to read the law, see what it says.
Correct.
Understand what we got to do to get it changed.
Not to cut you off, but you know, we got a lot of things facing us right now. So, you know, taking care of the veterans, that's very important. Until my dying day, I'll continue to advocate on behalf of veterans. From a national security perspective, we talked about a few things earlier in the show, but I do want to bring to light that we're at a point in time in our country where there's so much political divisiveness that we are right now challenged with meeting recruitment numbers in just about every branch of the U.S. military. Some branches actually reporting that they are only at 66% of their year-to-date or annual recruitment numbers, and they're going to fall very short. You know, all of these things are a result of just perceptions and or some may call realities of what we're seeing happening in government today. So this becomes a national security issue, and these are some of the things that not just this group, but every other veteran that I've spoken to is concerned about, and we have to be, because we've seen what happened with Ukraine. We know what's going on in some of the other more challenging countries in the world, especially those that don't wish or don't have any love for the United States, despite all the things that we've done for them, from trade to other international agreements, etc. So we're at a point in time right now where this subject is going to be crucial, and it's going to be important for us to really galvanize, not just around the memorial, but all of the national events that are in play right now as it relates to veterans, but also as it relates to our national security. What kind of country do we want to be? So I just want to make sure that we don't forget these things as they exist today. And it's more important now than any other time that I've ever seen that we actually press our elected officials and understand exactly what side of the equation they're on. It's very important for us to know where they sit with regards to all of these issues, including veterans issues.
Well, you point out what we're doing, actually, in the name of the Sons of Atlanta.
That's right.
Bringing 9 cities together in this park, but that's 9 different communities together that are diverse. That are very diverse, because what we're looking at is that veterans, even though we're less than 1% of the population, one of the smallest minorities in the country, we're one of the highest voting minorities in the country. Yes. We are the most organized minority in the country, and one of the most influential minorities in the country. Why would I say that? You're a perfect example. Our families follow us.
They sure do.
Our families, our loved ones, our families follow us. So we appeal in the last 30 days, we have come together with at least 6 different organizations in Fulton County to form what we're calling Veterans Voting for the Democracy. Not just going into November, but going forward, period.
Yes.
And raising these young men as examples of why we should keep our democracy. This is the sacrifice that we have already made, and the sacrifice that we're gonna make is what you're talking about now. When you look at the number of young people that's going into the military, they're not going into the military like they should be going into, because of the government that we have allowed to develop by the way we vote.
Absolutely.
We're electing the wrong folks to represent us. We're not vetting the candidates that come for us. We let them do all these commercials and all this television stuff, and the polls show this, the polls show that. No, you need to come talk to us about the issues that we want. We got veterans right now willing to stand up and say, listen, we're tired of the automatic war weapons in our communities.
That's right.
We're sick of the gun violence that in our community. We're sick of having politicians that will stand up more for the NRA than for our children that has to go to school.
Yes.
See, veterans are coming together to talk about the issues that all of us, the whole community, is talking about. We got a reason to tell them they should come together and do this. The sacrifices of these 240 that wasn't even able to vote before they died because of the government that was in place that time. But we have grown. We have grown the democracy.
Yes.
And we're going to continue to grow the democracy if we can get veterans to come together to stand to say, I don't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you're not doing the mission of your job when you go into office, you won't be there next time you come around. And we're watching you.
All right now.
You know, because we're watching you. We're tired of being sick and tired.
That's right.
You know, I don't want to go to the VA and get beat up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want a governor in place that will allow guns to be worn in the open by anybody. You know, I don't need that. I don't want no governor. I don't want no senator that's gonna impede upon the rights of a woman over her own body. Because if we let them get away with that, what they coming with next?
That's right. That's right.
This is just veterans talking to veterans and the community about all things veterans and the community.
Yes.
We're one.
Yes.
We are one, and we have to have this conversation. We got to create this conversation to it become an everyday conversation, so we understand that we got forces that's coming against our way of governing, our way of, and it has not just started. You know, we tired of 2% of the population having 90% of the wealth, and we cooperating with it.
Yes, we are. That's true.
This is what Brother Tony was trying to tell us now. You know, we got to do something for ourselves.
Right.
We got to stand up together because we are in it together. We got this stuff all confused. We're watching too much television.
Yes, and we,
You know,
and we have so many capabilities as a group of people, and we have the ability to really get our veterans to a much better place. Mr. Rafus, I want to ask you a couple of questions. So, you know, with respect to your product, real quickly, what makes yours different from some of the others that are out there on the market, if you don't mind talking about that?
Oh, well, there's nothing that makes any of these products different from anything else that's out here. The difference is what you do with the product after you get it, right?
Correct.
Like, for example, we're philanthropic on this side of the yard. So we believe that, and I've been around this industry long enough to know that most companies, once they get the money, they don't give any of it back. You're not going to be able to get that. Over here, what I'm saying is every time something happens through this network, there's going to be a rebate of sort, right? Because I don't just want to take care of and assist with taking care of a monument. I want to assist in taking care of veteran causes. This isn't the only cause that we're going to have as vets, right? We're going to have causes every time you turn around. There's going to be something that we need. And sad to say, let me just say this. Initially, I was under the false sense of thinking that the government took care of these things. Oh, how sad and wrong I was. Once I realized that, I said, you know, you pretty much have to do what I do personally. I don't ask anyone for anything. I manufacture it, you know, and I train you mentioned one of your children going to Kennesaw. I have one of my kids graduate from Kennesaw as well. So big ups to Kennesaw. So, and and I train these children. I said, listen, anything you want in this world, you got to conjure up a method to get it, and you got to act aggressively about getting it.
Yes.
And lastly, you must partner with the right people.
Absolutely.
You cannot get $100 and hold on to $100 and expect to make change. You're gonna have to part way with some of it. You know what I mean?
That's right.
You have to feed the change. You can't just be the change. You know.
Understood.
And on that note, I want to say this, highlight to some of our partners in the veteran community on September 24th. Out in Decatur, Georgia, we got some veterans out there, and the senator and Hank Johnson gonna be at this particular event. And this is what we do: bring them out so we can talk to them face to face. You know, it's time that we recognize that we are more than just veterans under the bridge, or veterans coming out of prison. We are a community of men and women that have learned that we are better together.
Yes.
We know that. You know, we're not going to allow this opportunity to pass up where we're going to not bring veterans organizations and veterans together to save our democracy. You know, I don't know what the people think that we're going to sit up and watch them put some people above the law, or they won't enforce the law, and we just going to sit back and say, well, they're in charge. We're going to take that charge away from them. Mm-hmm. We're going to put it in the hands of people that can keep their oath of office, of service. I know what that feels like. I mean, the VA got a lot of issues, and it's because of the people that we have been electing who appoints the people that's over the VA that do all this bad hiring. Mm-hmm. Or they ain't vetting the people they hire. Mm-hmm. I don't want to look at a veteran that's got cancer and can't get treatment at the VA. Mm-hmm. I don't want to hear that news.
Right.
Understood.
You know, we got to understand that these are our issues. They're the same issues that every other demographic in the community is having. We need to work together. We need to stop all this misinformation about these different politicians that going to be able to get away with just running ads on the TV. They need to come talk to us before November.
Yes, absolutely.
And they ain't just talking to Vietnam Veterans of America. They talking to veteran groups across Fulton County. And I'm hoping before it's over with, they're going to be talking to veteran groups across the state of Georgia. I'm going to Macon on the 22nd of this month to a statewide meeting. We're talking to all 17 chapters of Vietnam Veterans of America. And then we got websites where we can talk to all 700,000 veterans in the state of Georgia. All of us ain't going to do it, but most of us are.
Yes.
We're going to go to the poll in November and vote for democracy. Wow. Because we done already served for it.
Yes.
We're not going to go against our own best interests. We just got to talk to each other. We got to come together and let the politicians know it ain't business as usual.
Right.
It's not business as usual.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got a platform. We have created a platform with this memorial. It's just designed to put a physical part together so that we can go into all these community centers and libraries throughout Fulton County.
Yes.
To start teaching and helping our community with the same kind of organization and discipline that we had in the military.
Yes.
See, it's not going to be business as usual. We're not just talking about this election. We're looking at these people that have plotted and planned to stack the courts in these countries for the last 50 years. The Federalist Society is not going to get away with what they just did. Mm-hmm. We're going to expand the courts in this country. It's already too few for the population. And we're going to get immigration laws that recognize that we need immigration. You know, we're going to stop the foolishness.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk like military people talk. What's the issues? Let's go take care of the mission. Uh-huh. And we're going to stop letting people get away with misinformation and lies.
Right. That is
You're just going to talk to me any kind of way, going to tell me any kind of thing. They do that regularly at the VA. I do claims. I've been doing claims since 1975. And brother, man, listen. The claim process is working better today than it was when I got started. But it ain't working well enough to get these people from under the bridge yet. Mm-hmm. You know, we got to make sure that these veterans that are living under the bridge because they got some condition that stem from their military service. We don't know what kind of chemicals some of those guys have been exposed to because the government ain't telling all the truth.
Correct.
We see that intelligence don't mean nothing to some people. They can just take the records and go home with them. Mm-hmm. If I'd have got caught with taking something out of the military, Kenny, you was driving that truck, you got caught with taking something off the base if you wanted to.
Whatever more fun.
I read Tracy records as a logistic officer. You know, he performed outstandingly. But he can't get a good thing through the VA. Why can't the VA perform as well as he did? Mm-hmm. You know, we're electing the wrong people. Yeah. We've been electing the wrong people. Yep. We got to vet these folks that's running for to operate our government, and I can say it with it's our government. We serve for it.
Yeah, we have to elect better people, and we have to demand more. Okay?
Listen, we got to stop letting these people get away with raising all this money to do media campaigns to get my vote. I don't want no hear nothing about no poll. I want to talk to the people that I'm electing to let them know that the PAC Act didn't go far enough. You did a good job. You went in the right direction. But that's just like sending me on a mission. I get halfway down the path and say, I ain't going no further.
Right. Yeah.
We got to do better than this, and we know we can do better. Because I mean, I looked at how when I went in the military in 1967, right, from Ponce de Leon down on where City Hall East is now. I came out of a totally segregated community, but the first day at Fort Benning, I was living in an integrated community. But the rest of my community was still protesting to eat or to go in the front door. But now, we own the stoves. We can be president of the United States, and some people don't like that, so they want to change the government. No, we can't let them turn us around now. We done moved too far toward the perfect union. You pledge allegiance to the flag, one nation, right? Indivisible with justice. I want that.
Yes.
I got this Purple Heart trying to get that.
Yes.
I know this brother got a Purple Heart trying to get that. Don't tell me I ain't gonna get that. When I seen brothers die next to me,
Yes.
believing that pledge allegiance to the flag, and then they want me to come home and just go along to get along.
Yeah. I'm gonna divert for just a second because I know I got two bigger brothers that served in Vietnam, and one of them is actually watching right now. My oldest brother, Franklin, he's currently in Denver, and he had a trip to the VA. He goes there routinely, but he had a trip to the VA the other day, and he was being treated for a condition, let's call it that. And in the process of that treatment, let me just say it, he had a bloody nose, and we just did not know where it was coming from. It was persistent. It started early that morning and just wouldn't go away. So he goes to the VA, and they said, okay, we need to do a couple of things here to find out exactly what's going on. So they're running tests, do an MRI, and they said, okay, here from a services perspective, you had an MRI recently. We didn't find anything wrong, but this time around, the only thing that we're going to do differently is we're going to make sure it's a full body MRI or a full body scan. So they conducted that scan, and they found a mass at his frontal lobe in his brain. Okay, so why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because for all of the services that are performed, okay, if you are to be completely diagnosed for any of your illnesses or ailments, the best thing to do is make sure that you have a full imaging done. Okay, so if somebody's going to conduct a scan from your neck down, that doesn't tell everything that's going on or potentially going on with your body. In this particular case, this mass, they found it at the frontal lobe, and then, it was such a concern to them that they ended up having him life flighted from the VA to a trauma center because they were preparing him to go into some type of emergency surgery. Naturally, you get to the trauma center, and of course they performed some more tests there, found out that the mass had calcified, so it was not an immediate threat. And there's still some avenues that we can take to actually rectify that. But here's what I'm saying. For family members of individuals who are aging, have served in the military, who are going through any type of condition or any type of ailment whatsoever, it's okay to demand more. And this is a conversation I had to have with my niece, who is his primary caretaker, that it's important for you to know exactly what your rights are. So when you go to these appointments, demand more, okay? Ask. Okay, you may not necessarily get the answer you need, and just make sure that they're giving you answers that are going to satisfy you. But I believe, and mind you now, had this been detected much sooner, we would have probably had an opportunity to deal with it a long time ago. We have no idea how long this has been there, but I'll tell you this much: God had a different plan. So the fact that it's calcified, there's no nerves or any blood being supplied to this is a testament in itself. But you're talking about a man who endured so much, rose from the enlisted ranks all the way to chief petty officer. And I poke fun at him. Like I said, I know he's watching me, but I remember the day that son of a gun took me off the doggone dock and threw me in the water and had me treading water, trying to teach me how to swim. But I'm still traumatized by that to this day. But I'm poking fun at it. But the truth of the matter is that all veterans who have served in one capacity or the other, okay, understand what your rights are and make sure that you are getting the care that you need, and make sure that if you go to the VA and somebody's going to request that you get any type of scan, make sure it's comprehensive. Make sure it's comprehensive and that you understand the full effects of everything that scan delivers. Make sure you ask the right questions and just make sure that your family members know what's going on as well, and request copies.
And let me say this to your brother. Thank you for your service, but this is a good example of what we're talking about right now. When the way we are voting and who we're voting for, we got to get away from this profit motive medical care system that we have in this country. And the only way we're going to do that is to elect the right people. Now, VA is equipped to do better, but because they are profit motivated. When I say profit motivated, we're talking about how many doctors going to see how many patients, and the way the medical care is organized. They don't do full diagnosis because it's they want one diagnosis here, one diagnosis there. But this conversation is what we need to be talking about. We're going to continue this conversation next week, because the way we vote is critical now. And the fact that we need to vote right now in a way that Malcolm would see, we got to take the lesser of the two evils. We just got to take the lesser of the two evils, because it is a matter of the battle of the bullet.
Yes.
I want to say that it is a matter of the battle of the bullet, because they got some people that think that they can intimidate poll workers. Mama, grandmama, whoever they feel like they want to intimidate to get their way. They need to understand that day is past. They need to get away from that. They need to go sit down somewhere.
That's right.
And what we need to do, we're building a rally of veterans in the state of Georgia to go to the poll for our democracy. And we're going to do it throughout the United States, because something got to change.
Yes.
And I want to thank Tony for being with us today, brother. Thank you for being back, because now you need to talk with your wife, because we need you back on the set. All right. So I hope she's listening, so she won't be saying that you put me up to this.
You know what she's gonna say? Yeah. Take them.
Till next week, folks. Till next week. This Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing, but it's our thing.
Yes.
And I want to thank God for letting us have it.
www.sonsofatlanta.org and on Facebook at Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 1118. Thank you for joining us today. And have a great day.
Thank you, brother. I didn't get a chance to get